Let's continue reading Unphaser. Let's read section 8, Wielding Power. Both heaven and man have their fixed destinies. Fragrant aromas and delicate flavors, rich wine and fat meat delight the palate but sicken the body. Fair lineaments and pearly teeth warm the heart but waste the spirit. Therefore, renounce riot and excess, for only then can you keep your health unharmed. Do not let your powers be seen, be blank and actionless. Government reaches to the four quarters, but its source is in the center. The sage holds to the source, and the four quarters come to serve him. In emptiness, he awaits them, and they spontaneously do what is needed. When all within the four seas have been put in their proper places, he sits in darkness to observe the light. When those to his left and right have taken their places, he opens the gate to face the world. He changes nothing, alters nothing, but acts with the two handles of reward and punishment. Acts and never ceases. This is what is called walking the path of principle. Things have their proper place, talents their proper use. When all are in their proper place, then superior and inferior may be free from action. Let the cock herald the dawn, let the cat catch rats. When each exercises his ability, the ruler need do nothing. If the ruler tries to excel, then nothing will go right. If he boasts of an eye for the abilities of others, he will invite deceit among his subordinates. If he is lenient and fond of sparing lives, his subordinates will impose upon his kind nature. If superior and inferior try to change roles, the state will never be ordered. Use the single way and make names the head of it. When names are correct, things stay in place. When names are twisted, things shift about. Hence the sage holds to unity in stillness. He lets names define themselves, and affairs reach their own settlement. He does not reveal his nature, and his subordinates are open and upright. He assigns them tasks according to their ability and lets them settle things for themselves. He hands out rewards according to the results and lets them raise their own station. He establishes the standard, abides by it, and lets all things settle themselves. On the basis of names, he makes his appointments, and where the name is not clear, he looks to the actual achievement it applies to. According to how achievement and name tally, he dispenses the reward or punishment deserved. When rewards and punishment are certain to be handed out, then subordinates will bear their true nature. Attend diligently to these matters. Await the decree of heaven. Do not lose hold of the vital point, and you may become a sage. Discard wisdom and wile, for if you do not, you will find it hard to remain constant. When people use wisdom and wile, they bring grave danger to themselves. When the ruler uses them, his state faces peril and destruction. Follow the way of heaven. Reflect on the principle behind human affairs. Investigate, examine, and compare these things. And when you come to the end, begin again. Be empty, quiet, and retiring. Never put yourself forward. All the worries of the ruler come about because he tries to be like others. Trust others but never be like them, and then the myriad people will follow you as one man. The way is vast and great and without form. Its power is clear and orderly and extends everywhere. Since it extends to all living beings, they may use it proportionately, but though all things flourish through it, it does not rest among things. The way pervades all affairs here below. Therefore, examine and obey the decree of heaven, and live and die at the right time. Compare names, differentiate events, comprehend their unity, and identify yourself with the way's true nature. Thus it is said, the way does not identify itself with the myriad beings. Its power does not identify itself with the yin and yang, any more than a scale identify itself with heaviness or lightness. A plumb line with bumps and hollows, a reed organ with dampness or dryness, or a ruler with his ministers. All these are products of the way, but the way itself is never plural. Therefore, it is called a unity. For this reason, the enlightened ruler prizes solitariness, which is the characteristic of the way. The ruler and his ministers do not follow the same way. The ministers name their proposal. The ruler holds fast to the name, and the ministers come forward with results. When names and results match, then superior and inferior will achieve harmony. The way to listen to the words of the ministers is to take the statement that come from them and compare them with the powers that have been invested in them. Therefore, you must examine names carefully in order to establish ranks, clarify duties in order to distinguish worth. This is the way to listen to the words of others. Be silent as though in a drunken stupor. Say to yourself, lips, teeth, do not be the first to move. Lips, teeth, be thicker, be clumsier than ever. Let others say their piece. I will gain knowledge thereby. Though right and wrong swarm about him, the ruler does not argue with them. Be empty, still, inactive, for this is the true nature of the way. Study, compare, and see what matches, for this will reveal how much has been accomplished. Compare with concrete results. Check against empty assertions. Where the root and base of the affairs are unshaken, there will be no error in movement or stillness. Whether you move or remain still, transform all through inaction. If you show delight, your affairs will multiply. If you show hatred, resentment will be born. Therefore, discard both delight and hatred, and with an empty mind, become the abode of the way. The ruler does not try to work side by side with his people, and they accordingly respect the dignity of his position. He does not try to tell others what to do, but leaves them to do things by themselves. Tightly he bars his inner door and from his room looks out into the courtyard. He has provided the rules and yardsticks so that all things know their place. Those who merit reward are rewarded. Those who deserve punishment are punished. Reward and punishment follow the deed. Each man brings them upon himself. Therefore, whether the result is pleasant or hateful, who dares question it? When compass and rule have marked out one corner of truth, the other three corners will become evident of themselves. If the ruler is not godlike in his isolation, his subordinates will find ways to remove him. If his management of affairs is not impartial, they will guess at his inclinations. Be like heaven, be like earth, and all coils will be untangled. Be like heaven, be like earth. Then who will be close to you? Who will be distant? He who can model himself on heaven and earth may be called a sage. Would you order the affairs of the palace? Delegate them and be intimate with no one. Would you order outside affairs? Appoint one man to each office. Let no one do as he pleases, and never permit men to change office or to hold two offices at the same time. Take warning when there are many men gathered at the gates of high ministers. The height of good government is to allow your subordinates no means of taking advantage of you. Make certain that name and results match, and then the people will stick to their posts. If you discard this and look for some other method to rule, you will win the name of one who is profoundly deluded. Wily men will only increase, and evil ministers will fill your rank. Hence it is said, never enrich a man to the point where he can afford to turn against you. Never ennoble a man to the point where he becomes a threat. Never put all your trust in a single man and thereby lose your state. When the shin grows stouter than the thigh, it is hard to run. When the ruler loses his godlike qualities, tigers prowl behind him. If the ruler fails to take notice of them, then he and his ministers, who should be tigers themselves, become as impotent as dogs. If the ruler fails to check the danger, then the dogs will continue to increase in number. The tigers will form a band and assassinate their master. A ruler who has no ministers, how can he keep possession of a state? Let the ruler apply the laws, and the greatest tigers will tremble. Let him apply punishments, and the greatest tigers will grow docile. If laws and punishment are justly applied, then tigers will be transformed into men again and revert to their true form. If you wish to govern the state, you must make certain to destroy conclaves. If you do not do so, they will only grow more numerous. If you wish to govern the land, you must make certain that your bestowals pass into the right hands. If you do not do so, then unruly men will come seeking gain. If you grant what they seek, you will be lending a battle axe to your enemies. This you must not do, for it will only be used against you. The Yellow Emperor used to say, superior and inferior fight 100 battles a day. The subordinates hide their private desires and see what they can get from the ruler. The ruler employs his standards and measures to weigh what they are up to. Thus, the standards and measures that are set up are the ruler's treasures, and the parties and cliques that are formed are the minister's treasures. The only reason the ministers do not assassinate their sovereign is that their parties and cliques are not strong enough. Hence, if the ruler loses an inch, his subordinates gain a yard. The ruler who knows how to govern his state does not let his cities grow too large. The ruler who understands the way does not enrich the powerful families, not ennoble his ministers. Were he to enrich and ennoble them, they would turn about and try to overthrow him. Guard against danger, fear peril, make haste to designate your heir, and misfortune will have no means to arise. In ferreting out evil within the palace and controlling it outside, you yourself must hold fast to your standards and measurement. Whittle away from those who have too much, enhance those who have too little, but let the taking and the giving be according to measure. Never allow men to form cliques or join together to deceive their superiors. Let your whittling be as gradual as the slimming moon, your enhancing like a slow spreading heat. Simplify the laws and be cautious in the use of penalties, but where punishments are called for, make certain that they are carried out. Never loosen your bow, or you will find two cocks in a single roost, squawking in fierce rivalry. When wild cat and wolf break into the fold, the sheep are not likely to increase. When one house has two venerables, its affair will never prosper. When husband and wife both give orders, the children are at loss to know which one to obey. The ruler of men must prune his trees from time to time and not let them grow too thick, for if they do, they will block his gate. While the gates of private men are crowded with visitors, the ruler's courts will stand empty, and he will be shut in and encircled. He must prune his trees from time to time and not let them obstruct the path, for if they do, they will impinge upon his dwelling. He must prune his trees from time to time and not let the branches grow larger than the trunk, for if they do, they will not be able to bear up under the spring wind and will do injury to the heart of the tree. When cadet houses become too numerous, the royal family will face anxiety and grief. The way to prevent this is to prune your trees from time to time and not let the branches grow too luxurious. If the trees are pruned from time to time, cliques and parties will be broken up. Dig them up from the roots, and then the trees cannot spread. Fill up the pools and do not let water collect in them. Search out the hearts of others. Seize their power from them. The ruler himself should possess the power, wielding it like lightning or like thunder.